Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is the 3rd of July, 2025. Yeah, the day before America's birthday. Of course, they're all calling it July 4th. They don't want to talk about it being the celebration of the Declaration of Independence. No. Why? Because they lie. And guess what? All right, welcome to the Thursday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm your host, Davevonkleist, and as always, I humbly and respectfully request that you visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. You'll find archives of all the shows, and you'll also find our sponsors page. And I always ask that you visit our sponsors page and especially check out the Wave Watch. Now, they've extended their special. They were going to end it tomorrow, but they're going to carry it on through until July 15th. And that special is you get an extra $50 off, and that's on top of the $100 discount that you get when you use the promo code REDPILL100, which will automatically be applied when you click on our link there. But you'll get $150 off of the Wave Watch, and if you're one of the first 200 to order, you'll get a patriotic red, white, and blue wristband to go with it. So, check out the Wave Watch. It's based on Rife technology. Of course, Rife knew and Tesla knew that frequency is everything. And this here is a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. So anyway, check that out and do business with the WTF Reports, and I thank you in advance. All right, it's the day before America's birthday, and I will be doing a replay tomorrow. I have a couple of musical engagements to perform at. One of them in the afternoon, I'll be playing at the Patriotic American Brewery here in the Kalispell, Montana. So, and I'll actually be able to do some of my original tunes, which I kind of avoid in the regular venues. People don't want to hear about patriotism or red, white, and blue or anything like that. So, yeah, I stick with, Elton John, Willie Nelson, Cat Stevens, Billy Joel, Beatles, I play all the oldies and the standards. But at the Patriotic American Brewery, yeah, I get to do some stuff that's actually patriotic. What a concept. Anyway, so that's sort of what I've got planned for today. I want to share with you some of the music that I've done through the years because I haven't changed my tune at all, not even a little bit. And it's funny because when I became aware, and I don't want to say woke because we all know what that means, but no, I became aware of what was going on in the late 80s and especially in the 90s. During the first Gulf War with George Bush Sr. and Norman Schwarzkopf and Colin Powell and that whole thing with Kuwait and Saddam Hussein and blah, blah, blah. But that's what really got my blood boiling when I found out how much propaganda and horse hockey and gaslighting and bullcrap that they were throwing at us in the media. So that's what sort of prompted me to pursue a talk show career. And that's when I went on the air as Dave Riddell. I was using an air name at the advice of the program director. And so I was out there, called myself Dave Riddell. Riddell was my grandmother's maiden name, by the way. And but anyway, so that's where I got started doing my talk radio career. That was 30 years ago, back in 95. Unbelievable. Time goes by. But I started writing patriotic music, and I'm going to share some of it today because it's more applicable today than it was when I wrote most of these songs. But before I do, I want to touch on a couple of quick issues. There was a woman who posted, I guess it was Santa Trump that posted on X. It was a woman that was explaining some of the laws that were put into place in regard to immigration under the Clinton administration, the Democrats. Now, of course, we know that the Democrats now are standing by all these illegal immigrants and saying, no, they have the right, give us, you're poor, you're tired, you're weary. Yeah. That was maybe a good 150 years ago. Things have changed, my dear. But anyway, this woman is explaining some of the laws that were passed and are still on the books. Yeah, and it wasn't Trump who did it. Anyway, here it is.
Hi. Yeah. Bill Clinton signed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996. This act expedited removal. It lets the government deport people without a court hearing, legal representation, or even time to respond, all based on a border agent's judgment. It expanded the definition of aggravated felony, making minor crimes like shoplifting deportable offenses.
Whoa.
It removed key due process protections.
Did you hear that?
That had existed for decades, even for legal residents.
I'm going to pause it. That was under Bill Clinton. You got it? You got it, you blue Smurfs out there?
Mass deportations ramped up under Clinton, then Bush, then Obama, who became known as Deporter-in-Chief.
That's right. Obama deported over 3 million illegal immigrants.
Why isn't this talked about? Bill Clinton, Democrats, wrote this bill, voted for this bill. Bill Clinton signed this bill. So all of this due process argument is null and void, thanks to none other than the Democratic Party.
Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Oh, my gosh. I'll tell you, the hypocrisy is just, the stench curls my nose hairs. Anyway, I want to go back and I'm going to revisit a couple of audio clips that I've shared. As you know, when I do this program, I come with the audio receipts. And I just want to revisit something that happened last month. It was reported by Pete Williams on NBC. Okay? Give a listen to this.
Well, it was 14 years ago that the Supreme Court said that the Second Amendment does provide an individual right to have a gun, but they said it was at home for self-defense. And ever since then, the court has declined to answer the question, well, what about the part of the Second Amendment that says keep and bear arms? What about guns in public? And today, the Supreme Court has answered that question by a vote of 6-3 in an opinion written by Justice Clarence Thomas, saying that the Second Amendment does provide a right to have a gun outside the home. Now, the law in question in New York said there's no right to carry a gun openly in New York, but to get a concealed carry permit, a person had to go to the county sheriff and show some special need, something beyond just a general desire for self-defense. And today, the Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional. That puts a limit on the right to have a gun. So the Supreme Court says, number one, states cannot put these special restrictions on getting a gun for a concealed carry permit. Now, this decision obviously will have an immediate effect in New York, and it'll also affect the 7 other states that have similar laws: California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, and New Jersey.
Wow! Did you hear that? Take notes on that one, campers. Yeah, there's the Constitution says you have the right to keep and bear arms. That's the Constitution. And Clarence Thomas sided with the Constitution. So that means it's legal for you to keep and bear arms. I got to tell you, about 2 summers ago, of course, on all this controversy, people were protesting Trump and all this stuff under the Biden administration. And in my little town, there were a group of people, about a half a dozen people, waving American flags and Trump 24 flags. And 2 of them were armed. Okay? They had sidearms, and they had their rifle strapped around their shoulder. Well, I guess there was some liberal or something that was freaking out. Oh my God, they've got guns, And they called the police, and the police came. Woo! And they come around to over there. What's the problem here, ma'am? Look, these guys over there with the flags, they got guns. And the police officer said, yeah. Yeah, but look, he's got a handgun right there. Yeah. Yeah, but they're holding guns. Yeah, I know. That's their right to do so. But, yeah, this is a Second Amendment state. You get to do that here. But, ma'am, you called us out here for no real reason. Could you just chill out? But anyway, that's the way it went. Well, guess what? I think we're going to see a whole lot more incidences similar to that once people get it through their heads that you can keep and bear arms. It's in the Constitution. As a matter of fact, let's celebrate that with a song. Oh, wrong song. Okay, where is it here? Oh, yeah. This is it. Here it is. Bam. And this song was written in 1996 thanks to the inspiration of Sheriff Richard Mack. And here it is.
There are problems in our country, yes, we live in troubled times. There are far too many criminals and far too many crimes. I'm locking every window and I'm bolting every door. The tool I'll use in self-defense will even up the score. You can rant, you can rave, you can make your demands, and you can take my gun from my cold, dead hands. There are global corporations, they have billions that they pay to the greedy politicians who make sure things go their way. They tax us into poverty and we live from day to day. To them we're useless eaters, we don't get to have a say. You wanna trash this Constitution? Is that what's in your plan? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand. In every case through history, when genocide was planned, the firearms were gathered up and the opposition banned. The tyrants made distractions and the people looked away. And by the time they realized they couldn't get away, the smiling face on my TV says we should all join hands and help create this vision of New World Order plan. We'll downsize our defenses, give our bases all away to a UN global peace force, and we'll do just what they say. Take your globalist agenda and your New World Order plans, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hands. A man named Thomas Jefferson said there would come a day when government would try to lead the people all astray, confusing and abusing, slowly stripping rights away. To protect yourself from tyranny, there can only be one way. What part of uninfringed do you not understand? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand. In every case through history, when genocide was planned, the firearms were gathered up and the opposition banned. The tyrants made distractions and the people looked away. And by the time they realized they couldn't get away, a lawman up in Utah by the name of Sheriff Mack said we've lost our Constitution and we've got to take it back. The right to keep and bear arms when the Bill of Rights was penned isn't there to hunt or target shoot, it's there to self-defend. There ain't nothing here to compromise, there's a line here in the sand, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hand. Take your globalist agenda and your New World Order plans, and you can take my gun from my cold dead hands. What part of uninfringed do you not understand? You can take my gun from my cold dead hand.
Yeah, I was a little fired up on that tune. Oh man, I'll tell you, that brings back the memories. Yeah, and like I said, it's these tunes, I was screaming about this stuff decades ago, and there's no joy in I told you so for either party. So anyway, I'm going to open up the phone lines. If you want to join me, I'm just going to be going through some audio clips and then the songs that relate to the audio clips. The problem is that the audio clips are recent and the musical clips are older than dirt. So anyway, if you want to call and join the program, 215-867-8255. Again, 215-867-8255. Okay, as a matter of fact, speaking of the Second Amendment, there was a guy that posted his rant on the Second Amendment, and I figured I'd share it. Here it is.
The right is full of cowards, but the left is just full of sick people. People will go at great lengths to politicize and weaponize a tragedy. I want to address the leftists out there that think this is a gun problem. We've had guns here since the dawn of time, but only in the last 20 years have we had mass shootings. Every single year it gets more difficult to get a rifle, but every single year we see more mass shootings. But please explain to me how this is a gun problem and not a mental health problem. And you sick bastards, the one that say, how many children need to die before you give up your Second Amendment? All of them. Is that what you want to hear? Is that the sound clip you're looking for so you can dunk on the right-wingers? Nobody's out to solve problems anymore. It's all about dunking on the political opposition. To the right-wingers out there saying maybe it is time for gun control. Here's a PSA for everybody that doesn't seem to quite understand the purpose of the Second Amendment. Second Amendment's not for hunting. It's not for the range. It's not for self-defense. Second Amendment is leverage against your government. It's a dead man switch. Purpose of the Second Amendment is to live free or die. To the lefties, oh, you think you stand a chance against the military? No, I don't. I'm not stupid. Push came to shove, an AR-15 is nothing compared to an F-35. If it really came down to it, the first Marine who was a decent shot would probably take me out. The point is that they would have to take me out, that I will go down swinging. And most people are tired of saying that what happened is an absolute tragedy. When you hear the details of what actually happened in Texas, it's pretty tough to imagine. Even if I thought that abolishing the Second Amendment would somehow stop all school shootings, I still wouldn't do it because I'm not some emotional single-issue voter. You can't just look at single issues in a vacuum. You have to look at them with respect to everything else. More kids die every year sniffing fentanyl than being shot by an AR-15, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open. More Americans die at the hands of illegal immigrants, but you'll fight to keep that southern border open. So are you really about saving lives, or is it just about disarming your political opposition? After JFK, we beefed up security for politicians. After 9/11, we beefed up security at airports. All these tragedies throughout history, and we beef up the security at the places where they occur. Except for schools.
Yeah.
There are 380,000 unemployed veterans in the United States. Most of them are working age, but a lot of them have problems because they feel like they don't have a place in society. They don't feel like they have support, and they don't feel like they have a purpose. So maybe instead of sending $40 billion to fund a war on the other side of the world, or spending more money so that children can learn about their teachers' kinks, we could instead put 2 veterans that are already well-trained in every school that would happily lay down their lives to protect those kids. To me, and for the people, and for the veterans, and for the children, that sounds like a win-win. And to all the British people out there, we don't give a damn what you guys got going on in England. Not one single damn. You gave up your guns and the government hasn't turned on you? Wow, that's because you're a domino and we are the first domino. American right-wingers are the only thing keeping the entire world in check. Maybe you can discuss that over your next tea and biscuits. I forgot to mention all the people saying this is a Republican problem because they're all in the back pockets of the gun lobby. First of all, the gun lobby's broke. And second, all those people crying about the gun lobby won't say a word about what Big Pharma is doing to young people in America. So to all the anti-gun people, you're a liar and a coward, and you don't actually care about children.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And I got to tell you, wait a second. I don't know where that extra audio is coming from. I got a bad echo there. But yeah, it's absolutely right. Remember when Hillary Clinton said that children are our most precious resource? Well, then why the heck aren't we protecting our children? You know, they got guns to protect banks. They got guns to protect our elected officials. They got guns to protect this, that, and everything. But the schools, wide open. I think that this guy had a great idea. We should hire a couple of veterans who know how to use a gun and have them protect the kids in the schools. That makes a whole lot more sense. All right, let's see. Let's go to the phone lines. Let me see. Who do we have there? Go ahead. Cynthia.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm getting a bad echo here. Do you have the audio, your radio on?
No, I don't.
Huh.
I have headphones on. When you try without them?
Okay, that sounds better. Whatever you did now, I'm not getting that echo, so that sounds better. Okay, so what's up, girl?
Well, I want to bring up the fact that participating in the militia is not only a right, it's a responsibility.
That's right.
And under the Constitution, the local government can draft you into the militia, and they should be doing this.
Correct.
Plus, the fact that the militia needs to have weapons that are military grade, because you have to be able to combat and protect. Well, you know, it's true you can't possess a nuclear weapon, maybe, but you surely can possess much more sophisticated weapons than the current laws have been permitting.
Well, there are 2 points. There are 2 points that need to be made. I believe it was John Adams who was asked, "What is the militia?" And he says, "I tell you, sir, that militia is the whole of the people. It's not the National Guard. It's not any of this. It's the people." And that's point number one. I forgot what point number 2 was at this point, but it is us, and we have the right and the duty, as you said, to protect ourselves, our families, and our communities. Now, I will be the first to admit that with the weapon technology that the government has right now, they've got sonic weapons, laser weapons, all kinds of stuff. I mean, they can aim a laser at you and explode your eyeballs. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff that they can use. Sonic weapons, which will make you feel like you're on fire. I mean, so I don't know if actually having a firearm is going to be do any good when they start rolling out these high-tech weapons. But we still have the right to be able to protect ourselves. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in. Go ahead.
Remember that Paradise, California appeared to be attacked by directed energy weapons of some type.
Yes, I had a friend of mine who lost her home there.
Our military stood down. Paul Preston with the New California State Movement was boots on the ground the day afterward. He's a journalist and a science teacher. He said that he thought thousands of people probably died, not just the less than 100 people that the major media was allowed to state.
Right, and that was Paradise, California. Then we move on to Maui, Hawaii, and what happened over there.
My God. Yeah. Our military obviously stood down. We need our militias back up and going. And by the way, I want to tell you how much I appreciate Red State Talk Radio for willing to host conversations of this type, because many people are afraid to. Mm-hmm. And Scott Adams is very, very courageous.
Yes, he is.
And can I slip in that GR is going to talk about the militia today at 3:00?
Sure, absolutely.
Well, you know, he's the one I got the statement from, GR Mobley, with Reclaiming the Republic, which is at 3:00 Pacific time or 6:00. He's on the same radio station you are, so I feel like y'all are comrades.
Yeah, I have no problem promoting another broadcaster on this network. No, as far as I see it, we're teammates, not competitors. So that's the way that is.
Yeah. So I can't believe how much they have suppressed this information. I'm almost I'm past 70, but I can't. Maybe I don't have the ability to aim a gun successfully without any practice, because I haven't been to the shooting range in a few decades. But I can at least aim a camera, and we can do video camera and can give them additional information. You can participate in many different ways.
Absolutely.
You can help take care of somebody's kids if they're out there, protecting their kids, and they need somebody to be on the other end of a nanny cam, letting you know that their kids are okay. There's so many different ways. You can teach ham radio. You can help people get set up. There's all these different ways you can be part of a militia.
Yeah, and I think that we need to resurrect the interest in CB radios, not just ham radios and shortwave radios, but CB. Because CB, back in the 70s, everybody was talking on CB radios. They had whole communities out there. And, it takes a little while to, work out the protocols and, being polite on the airwaves, breaker, that kind of stuff. But I think that people need to get their CB radios. If you got one down the basement, hey, blow the dust off of it, get your antenna back up there, because I think we're going to need them. All right. Okay. All right. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for the phone call, and I appreciate your listenership, as always. And I'm glad to have you on board. So you have...
I am shopping for Wave Watch, so I'll be checking that out, too.
Absolutely.
Thank you Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. You have a safe holiday weekend. God bless.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you. And I got to tell you, folks, for years and years, I've had no love, and I'm well documented and on the record for saying, that the Republicrats and the Demopublicans are marching to the tune of the same drummer. The corporate Borg has taken over both parties. And in this case, the corporate Borg is being led around by, shall we say, another country. Welcome to the United States of Israel. And I still have a problem with both parties. That's right. I know this is Red State Talk Radio. You're not supposed to be bad-mouthing the right or the red or the Republican Party. But I got to tell you, folks, we all know that this last election, we had a choice between Trump and Kamala. And I think it's a no-brainer. If I heard her say, unburdened by what has been, oh my gosh, how many times did she say that? We already know what we would have gotten with Kamala Harris just by looking at the previous 4 years under Biden. So I think it was a no-brainer to elect Trump. But I got to tell you, I'm feeling betrayed right now. I really am. I mean, we got Trump in there, who's going to be, America's first, that type of stuff. But every action that they're taking is showing that America is second. America is second to some other country over there in the Middle East. And you need look no further than AIPAC to see, who's getting paid off and why those three magic words seem to apply.
Bribery, coercion, blackmail.
I'm hearing that the Middle East is in an uproar because they've discovered that they had turned from India, programmers and computer assistants and whatever, and now they're discovering there were back doors to Israel all along.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, I feel like I'm being betrayed. And now a couple more examples. Robert Kennedy Jr. now was just on the House floor saying that in 4 years he wants everybody to have a Fitbit, a smartwatch that's going to monitor, of course, your vital signs, et cetera, but it also is going to be letting them know exactly where you are, what you're doing, and, it's going to be a monitoring device. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, this is so great. I get to see what my heart rate is and what my respirations are. Oh, and what my blood sugar is. And, oh, this is so cool. Well, you know what? It's a back door. It's more control. So that's RFK Jr. And then, of course, 2 months ago, Trump rolled out Larry Ellison from Oracle. And he proudly stood there in the Oval Office and said, yeah, we have the technology now to design a vaccine specifically to your DNA. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Sorry, I don't think so. And then he also said that we've got the technology to develop a fantastic surveillance system. Yeah, electronics everywhere. I don't like that either. And now he's got Peter Thiel out there, and he's basically saying, yeah, we're going to put together, an AI-controlled surveillance system. And wait a minute, what's going on? What's going on? I thought it was America first. I thought we were going to take care of the American people. But that doesn't seem to be happening. So I'm having some reservations, and I know a lot of Republicans out there are starting to look at this and saying, wait a second, did we vote for this? So, I'm not doubting it. But anyway, is there anything else? Because I want to free up the phone here for somebody else to call, Cynthia.
I had a friend who was with military intelligence. He was retired when I met him, running a business in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And he said he knew Ellison before his name was changed to Ellison.
Okay.
And he said this man was put into business by the CIA.
I have no doubt. I know that Palantir's got, that Peter Thiel has ties to the CIA. So, I mean, there's...
The CIA goes back to the city of London.
Oh, yeah,
right?
We can go down that road, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. But that's a big can of worms we don't have time to get into right now. But the CIA has been in bed with the Mossad, too. So, I mean, they are two wings of the same intelligence bird. So, anyway, I'm going to let you go, Cynthia. I want to free up the phone line. You have a great weekend. Bye-bye. All right. So, I've got a couple of things I want to get to here. There is a chemtrail pilot. A pilot that has been running those planes and spraying us like bugs, and he's on his deathbed, and he made a confession, and here it is.
My name is not important right now. What matters is what I've done, or what they're still doing. I flew for the United States Air Force for 17 years. After that, I spent another 15 in commercial aviation, mostly long haul. On paper, I was a military pilot turned airline captain. But in practice, I was something else entirely. I was a geo-engineering asset, a tanker terminator, a cog in a machine that most people don't even know exists, or refuse to believe exists. Starting in the late 1990s, I was briefed into Operation Indigo Ice. That's what they called it back then. We were told it was a climate defense initiative under the ENMOD mandate. Environmental modification for peace purposes. That was the cover story. A lie cloaked in national security language. We were spraying aerosolized dispersants at high altitudes, usually between 28,000 and 38,000 feet, depending on humidity and temperature layers. The payloads varied: aluminum oxide, barium salts, strontium compounds, and yes, coal fly ash. A toxic byproduct most of the public has never even heard of. The deliveries were embedded in the aircraft, mixed in the fuel at the refinery level, undetectable to ground crews or flight engineers. We were told this was above our clearance, but we knew the systems. Pressurized dispersal units, nozzle arrays hidden in the fairings, synchronized with auto flight programs, finally, fully automated. We didn't even need to flip a switch. Most of the spraying was done along predetermined corridors, polar routes, NATO, airspace corridors, or sparsely populated regions, and major metropolises at night, and always under the cover of persistent contrails. I never questioned it, not at first. The checks were good, real good. I was single, no kids. No one to answer to, no one to disappoint. I trusted my superiors. I thought, or convinced myself, that we were helping to stabilize the climate. But the last few years, it caught up with me, physically, mentally. I've been diagnosed with systemic heavy metal toxicity. My bones ache constantly. My memory slips. I've developed tremors, insomnia, and deep spiraling depression. Doctors found elevated levels of cadmium, mercury, and arsenic in my tissues. Levels that make no sense for a civilian, but they make perfect sense for someone sitting less than 20 feet from aerosol payload tanks for half his adult life. And now they've told me I have maybe 6 months. So I'm done being silent. I wasted too many years lying to myself. Telling myself it was for the greater good, that the public couldn't handle the truth, that I was just a pilot doing his job.
I'm going to pause it right there because he starts to break down. And I can't imagine the pain that this gentleman and many others like him have been involved in different operations, whether they be, spraying chemtrails or putting stuff in the water, et cetera, the guilt that they must feel once they find out what they've done. And I know that he and many others are going through the same type of depression. But I do want to tell you that there are legislators that are hip to this. As a matter of fact, the state of Florida has banned weather modification systems. Listen up.
Seeing these lines in the sky, some believe these are concerning chemtrails, and others just call it a conspiracy theory.
Either way, Florida lawmakers took a big step toward what they call banning weather manipulation today. Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders looks into the plan and also what's next.
It was last year between Hurricanes Helene and Milton, GOP firebrand and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene had this viral post. She claimed the federal government was controlling the weather, stoking conspiracy theories that the White House was trying to influence the 2024 election. The idea was quickly denounced by politicians on the right and left, but about a month later, State Senator Ileana Garcia filed SB 56, banning weather modification in Florida.
28 yeas, 9 nays, Mr. President.
So the bill passes. And Thursday, it passed the full Senate.
This is about protecting Florida's environment and public health. With no federal guidelines in place, Florida must take responsibility for its own airspace.
If signed into law, the bill bans the release of chemicals, substances, or use of a device to affect temperature, weather, climate, or intensity of sunlight. Anyone who does so faces a third-degree felony. The Department of Environmental Protection tasked with enforcement, even getting a hotline where the public can report suspicions.
What I don't want is for a loophole to continue to grow, and that we have something as powerful as weather and weather modification to be weaponized.
Things like cloud seeding are real. In places where extra water is needed or helpful, scientists use silver iodide to push rain clouds into raining. CNN recently highlighted the benefits.
The hydroelectric power company says that last year's cloud seeding program has provided a 300% return.
How many homes can that power? What are you getting out of that?
On average, that's in excess of 60,000 homes.
Supporters of the ban say there just isn't enough science out there yet and would rather wait before allowing this kind of stuff to continue.
And listen, whether you believe this is a big deal or not a big deal, the best thing about this bill is after it's implemented, you will know.
The governor is a fan too, but has an issue with a more moderate version over in the Florida House.
And they would actually codify the practice of geoengineering and weather modification. People got a lot of kooky ideas that they can get in and put things in the atmosphere to block the sun and save us from climate change. We're not playing that game in Florida.
Opponents, meanwhile,
I'm afraid that we're legislating on some of these tinfoil theories, as you described.
State Senator Tina Polsky said lawmakers are just moving too fast.
I'm not, denying that there might be something going on. It's just we have to have the right methodology to take care of it. And, that's what we do in state government. It's not right for us to just slap on fines or, penalties for folks if we don't really know what we're doing.
Yeah, if we really don't know what we're doing. And you don't know what you're doing. That's the problem. They don't know what the long-term effects are of throwing aluminum, barium, strontium, smart dust, and who knows what else. And, but we should just continue doing it until something gets screwed up. Yeah, sort of like what happened with the COVID vaccines. Yeah, right. It's not like I wasn't screaming about this years ago, folks. I hate to say it, but there's no joy in I told you so for either party. I wrote this song almost 20 years ago. They didn't listen.
Another day, a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. The trail they leave is cloudy white. They do the same in the dead of night. A sticky, filmy, web-like strand is sometimes left behind. It gently falls on unsuspecting people till they find. It falls upon the farmers' fields, it lights upon their skin. Aluminum and silicon, nanomicrobes soon get in. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. They're not alive, they're not machine, they're nothing like this world has ever seen. They replicate, you don't know they're there, till your skin erupts with an oily hair. And those with blatant symptoms, after paying doctor's fees, now have a diagnosis. It's an emerging new disease. They call it now Morgellons, and they don't know what to do. Are nanomicrobes in your town? Are they affecting you? Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by.
Can you imagine them spraying us with smart dust? Nanotechnology? Of course, they got a new delivery system now with the hokey-pokey thingy-dingies. But they're coming at us from many different angles.
And those with blatant symptoms, after paying doctor's fees, now have a diagnosis. It's an emerging new disease. They call it now Morgellons, and they don't know what to do. Are nanomicrobes in your town? Are they affecting you? Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. As time goes by, your body aches. You break a sweat and you get the shakes. The doctors say it's the way you feel. It's in your head. No, it isn't real. And those not understanding slowly turn the other way, dismissing those who suffer and ignoring what they say. And those with condescension will continue not to care until they look upon their arm and find an oily hair. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky, but it only lasts until the planes fly by. Yes, it only lasts until the planes fly by.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to find out what the long-term effects are going to be, because, there are those legislators that basically say the exact same thing. Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see if we screwed everything up. Yeah, okay. But anyway, there are a lot of people out there that are seeing exactly what's happening. And I'm going to share, why not? I'm sort of celebrating our 4th of July today with some of the songs that I did many years ago. So here's one of them. And these are my musical commentaries, my editorials, using my voice and my weapon of mass instruction, my guitar.
Sinatra sings and the big band swings. Recent victory from the big one rings in the front of everybody's minds. Revving up the post-war boom, blushing brides and eager grooms, hula hoops, roller skates, all is well in these United States. Playing with my rabbit ears and black and white TV. But now we channel surf and pay the cable company. Are things freer in America today than they were just 40 years ago? Elvis Presley swings his hips, Marilyn puckers up her lips. All is well in Camelot. Cleavers Nelson's apple pie, rockets shoot into the sky. Missile crisis, Vietnam, Agent Orange, Peter Pan. People taking interest, pushing for a change. But take a stand today and folks say you're deranged, yeah. Are we freer in America today than we were just 40 years ago?
Rockefeller, Chicago, UN, communist world control, Morgan, Rothschild, Warburg, too. Got a little plan for you, a new world order, that's the plan. Every woman, child and man, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Jew, does what they are told to do.
Working hard to get my pay, quitting time another day. The big game's on and then the fight. Let's see what's on the news tonight. A big election, what's my choice? Doesn't matter, I'm just one voice. So much corruption, nothing's fair. They won't change, why should I care? I'm just hanging on, look out for number one. And on the weekend maybe I can have some fun, yeah. Are things freer in America today than they were a couple years ago?
Broadcast stations we control induce complacency to go let people think that they are free. Distractions broadcast on TV, our influence in Washington make people do what we want done. Eventually when we are through, they'll do just what we tell them to.
Corruption is enshrined, freedom falls for all mankind. Check the records, word and deed. Is there goal, control and greed? Common sense we should apply. Ask ourselves the question why. Integrity just falls away, and we don't have a word to say. By and for the people it's supposed to be, but non-involvement slowly leads to tyranny, yeah. Are we freer in America today than we were 200 years ago?
Half a century ago, a Nazi bid for world control, identifying every Jew by numbers that they would tattoo. Today we have technology and we've convinced them all to be submissive to their leadership and all receive a biochip.
Wow, how did I know?
Are we freer in America today than we were a couple years ago? Are we freer in America today than we were just 40 years ago? Are we freer in America today than we were 200 years ago?
Now listen up to this part.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Everybody, everywhere, sit back, relax, and get ready for the glorious dawning of a new world order. There's nothing that you have to do. We have everything under control. Just watch your TV, and we'll tell you what you need to know. There's not much, I promise. Pretty soon you'll have your very own biochip. Imagine, no more tax forms, no more medical records, no more bank books or paychecks, no more cares or worries. We've done it all just for you. With years of testing and research, we finally have all the answers, and we know what's best for all mankind. Simply follow directions given to you by your friendly local officials. They can guide you through the transition stage, and after you've complied with the basic introduction...
Trapdoor, get rid of that guy. Oh, man, you got to have a little fun with it once in a while. But anyway, I'm going to close with this musical history lesson. Here it is.
Many years ago, our families came from far away to build a better future and to find a better way. At first it wasn't easy. There were times they had to fight, one by land or two by sea, the lanterns in the night. They pledged their sacred honor and established liberty, and they wrote the Constitution for their posterity. To tyrants they were terrorists, and they were called the enemy. But these patriotic rebels pledged their lives so we'd be free. Don't let it slip away
framers tried to warn us. Forever vigilant is what we have to be. Be on your guard, protect your Constitution, or your republic will become a tyranny. And as this country prospered, there were those who couldn't stand to see the common people as the rulers of their land. A small cabal of rich men then meticulously planned, regaining their control with an economic hand. For many generations and through the countless years, their money paid for influence and their tactics played on fears, until each politician, corporate leader, CEO understood they had to play along or say they didn't know. Don't let it slip away. The framers tried to warn us. Forever vigilant is what we have to be. Be on your guard, defend your Constitution, or your republic will succumb to tyranny. There are those who don't believe this evil story could be true, but if you look and think, you'll see just what they've done to you. A third of all your labor, every year they tax away, and how they spend your money, you don't have a right to say. Our country now's awakened, and our eyes are open wide. We see how they deceived us, and we know just how they lied. It's time for restoration. Yes, it's time to do what's right. And although we may not want to, if we have to, we will fight. Because we understand just why the framers warned us. Forever vigilant is what we now must be. And we're prepared to defend our Constitution. Armed with the truth, we'll defeat this tyranny. We will not fail, and we'll march to victory. Yes, we will stand, and together we will be free.
That's the title cut of the third album, Forever Vigilant. And by the way, all my music is available for free. Just go to YouTube and type out my name, and you'll find all 3 albums. Every single song I've ever done is out there for your listening pleasure for absolute free, for free. Anyway, I wanted to share this musical tribute with you today, July 3rd, as of course tomorrow we'll be doing a replay. But this is my way of saying thank you so much for your listenership. Thank you, God Almighty, creator of all things, for touching my heart and giving me the ability to put together these musical tributes and my musical messages through the years. And with that, I hope that you all have a very safe holiday weekend. And I know we've got a lot to think about, but I ask God to touch all of your hearts out there and all the other people who aren't listening. You know, we've got to be able to basically... I forgot to hit that button. We have to basically stand in the light and no more hiding in the darkness. We're going to need God's help, folks. So pray, pray, pray. It's not hard to do. You know it. Anyway, that said, that's going to wrap it up for another week of this craziness here at the WTF Reports. If you like what we're doing, then please support the broadcast. If you want to contribute to our GoFundMe so we can expand the show and do all the other things that we need to do to make this program grow, then go ahead and do it. Or you could do business with our sponsors. That'll work too. Anyway, that said, folks, we're going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to take the day off tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday with more of the news they hope and pray you never hear. God bless you all. Stay safe and stay free. And I'll see you on Monday.